Pastor Bob?
Let us pray. Almighty and ever gracious God, we thank you for this day. And Lord, as we have gathered here in this place for this town meeting, we just invite your Spirit to be here with us. Guide us and direct us as business is conducted, as conversation is shared, as questions are asked. And just continue to give each and every one of us insight into the direction that you desire for us to go. We pray all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right. Amendments to the agenda. Anybody have any amendments or corrections to the agenda?
I would like to add a executive session at the end to address employee concerns and obtain legal advice.
All right, is there a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the agenda is passed with that one addition. All right. So we have the approval of, before I go to the approval of the minutes, I need to read out the executive session minutes that were held on March the 19th. At the town regulars meeting on Thursday, March 19th at 7:39 p.m. Councilmember Ernst moved to close the meeting to discuss a personnel matter and obtain legal advice regarding sewer billing in the town of Goldsboro. Councilmember Noon seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. At 8:20 p.m., Councilmember Noon moved to end the closed session. Councilmember Ernst seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. No votes were taken during the closed session. There being no further business to conduct, at 8:20 p.m., Councilmember Berulia made a motion to adjourn the public meeting. Councilmember Harrison seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 8:20 p.m. And on April the 2nd, we had a closed session after the workshop. On April the 2nd, and a motion at 6 o'clock, a motion was made to modify the agenda to add an executive session following the workshop to discuss a personnel matter. The motion was seconded and passed unanimously. At 7:02 p.m., Councilmember Ernst moved to go into the executive session to discuss the personnel matter. Councilmember Noon seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. The executive session opened at 7:02 p.m. At 7:17 p.m., Councilmember Harrison moved to end the executive session. Councilmember Berulia seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. The executive session ended at 7:17. No votes or actions were taken during the executive session. At 7:18 p.m., there being no further business to conduct, Councilmember Harrison moved to adjourn the public workshop. Councilmember Berulia seconded, and the motion passed unanimously. The public workshop was adjourned at 7:18 p.m. All right, and if you would, turn your attention to approving the minutes on March the 19th of 2026. And if there's not any addition or corrections, I'll look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 19th, 2026.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, if you would turn your attention to the minutes for our April meeting on April the 2nd, 2026. And unless there are any additions or corrections, I'll look for a motion to approve this as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the 4/2/26 meeting minutes.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right. Moving on to presentations and public hearings. First up, we have a presentation from Chuck Totoro from the Greenfield Volunteer Fire Department. I don't see him. I will set him aside in case he shows up a few minutes later. All right. And then we also have a public hearing on ordinance 2026-0-6, which is an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend Chapter 19, Section 19 of the Greensboro Town Code to clarify the conditions under which the sewer portion of the utility bill may be abated due to a water leak. And the long and short of that, it changes it from the previous 60 days or 2 billing periods to a period of 30 days, or for the period of time between the owner or resident was notified of the possibility of the presence of a leak and when the leak was fixed, whichever is short. Anybody from the public wish to address this ordinance? Set that aside for a second. And next we have an ordinance 2026-0-7, introduced by Councilman Harrison, an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend Chapter 4, Section 2 of the Greensboro Town Code to extend the number of days over which a continued violation of any element of Chapter 4, titled Property Maintenance, constitutes a separate offense from 1 day to 5 days. And that's what this ordinance does. Previously, every violation, each day went by, constituted a separate violation. The council has amended it to 5 days if this ordinance is approved. Anybody would like to address this one? All right, hearing none, then I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing on these two ordinances.
Make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, department reports. That would be it.
All right, from the red speed camera, we had 248 speeding violations that were issued.
I'm sorry.
Nope, it's okay. I didn't want to interrupt you, so I was waiting. So, Georgia March, 248 speeding violations were approved. And this is available in the town hall streams. No training assignments for March. There's no update on the state aid grant. We did have a big conclusion to a very lengthy investment case. Spent about 100 hours of investigation, which brought the suspect, Robert Salmons. He was charged on a grand jury indictment for multiple counts of theft schemes, over $100,000 from a local business here in Greensboro, which would be JP Automotive. Sergeant Adams actually took the case when he first arrived. There was no hesitation, and he investigated it to the conclusion, and we have an arrest, and he is in jail pending his court date.
I noticed, Chief, that the speed camera violations are going down, so hopefully it's probably gotten the message to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen quite a decrease in the violations. Sometimes it's either people are getting the hang of it or they're not in a rush, but I'm pretty confident that it will pick up again.
Thank you.
For Public Works, we had a water leak out on Whiteleysburg Road, which was a lead joint that had failed. And then it ended up turning into, once that leak got fixed, behind Cars R Us and Save a Lot, there was a valve that decided to break off, causing another leak. 3 call-outs in Goldsboro for pump alarms. One resulted in a retrofit. Second one at the fire department was female products that were clogged up, and they stripped the propeller out of the one pump. So they're only operating off one pump until they get back to us about the second pump. The third pump was clogged up. We were able to unclog it, and then we've just been doing regular maintenance up there. We had to pull and clean the UV sensors at the wastewater plant. The grit machine had issues that needed to be, and so it resulted in it being recalibrated. With the storm, it caused some electrical issues, so they had to come back out today to just do another tweak on it to get it closed. Yearly calibration on totalizers were completed by Horny Enterprises. Same with the wells. They were, the yearly calibration was done. Chop Tank River Park renovations are now completed. We're working now with DNR about a kayak launch, a dual kayak launch. Hopefully we'll have more to come, or I'll have more next week to explain. We've been working on the site work at Jesse Sutton. Had to remove some trees and do some grading work, and we're moving along with that project.
I have a question. So this kayak launch, it's great, but it's seasonal. Are you going to pull it out of the water and store it? And if so, do we have the means to use it? Or are you going to leave it in there all winter?
It's going to be in there all winter. It's going to be in there all winter.
Are we responsible for replacing it if it gets damaged?
Can't hear you, Pete. We are mumbling back here.
Yeah, if it gets damaged, yes, but it's going to be its own separate launch.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Good evening. Training, we have Julie who's been training on the website with a consultant and making progress on updating our website. For procurement and RFP, we put out a bid for an RFP for janitorial services. It was awarded to Chop Tank Cleaning. They were the lowest bid. For budget preparation, fiscal year 2027 budget workshops have been set up, and we continue to work on the fiscal year 26 actual cost in QuickBooks. The Goldsboro sewer billing, we have received one month payment from Goldsboro. However, the beginning of April, we did issue another month's bill to them. I did reach out to them this week, have not gotten a call back. I think they're waiting on the loan from a bank to be able to pay us. Hometown Hero flags, we've got 27 of them that was ordered. They have been mailed out to us. They're coming by FedEx, so hopefully we'll have them by next week. I'll coordinate that with Public Works to start installing them on the light poles. Audit update, we continue to work with our accountant on the audit process for fiscal year 24 and 25. We have been working on the budget, so it's kind of halted us a little bit from getting some of that information done and back out to the accountant. I did speak with him today. I'll be finishing up the ARPA audit, getting that out to them. There was a problem with the revenue that was inputted in MCSJ, which is our utility billing system. A lot of that did not look like it was accurate. So the accountant and I sit down and went over that today and come up with some final figures. He's going to put it in. And then once I get the ARPA done, it should go to the auditors to start the fiscal year 24. Subscriptions, we've canceled a Comcast bill that we had for the Public Works building. That's going to save a total of $3,200 a year. Town Hall, Public Works, and the Police Department are now sharing an internet service through Comcast. I did have on here for copier lease review. Our copier lease for the town expires in May, but I'm looking at some additional options right now. We did get 2 prices to purchase copiers, but I'm leaning to maybe do a different option for us, and I'll bring that forward. We passed an ordinance that instituted the utility deposit requirements. That started on April the 8th, so any new homeowners or ownership or tenants moving in will be required to pay a $150 water deposit and a $150 sewer deposit for a total of $300. E-code update, this is the system that's going to house all of our ordinances and our town code as well as our charter. Are continually working on that. They had to go through over 274 ordinances to update the town code to get us where we need to be. We've got workshops planned for April the 23rd, April the 30th, May 7th, and May 14th. I'm hoping that we can have the budget completed by that time. The events that we've got planned are the Child Abuse Awareness Month. We've got blue lights on and the blue pinwheels out front. Autism awareness, that's going to be at Greensboro Elementary School on April the 25th from 10 to 1. The town plans on having a table there and supporting this much needed event. And then we've got the fishing derby that's going to be at the Chop Tank River Park on June the 6th from 8 to 1. We hope that we'll have a lot of participation there. And on a final note, yesterday I did get verification that we received a legislative bond initiative. It's for $50,000 and it's specifically for the Greensboro Police Department. That will assist in any additional renovations that we have for that building. replacing some doors, doing some duct work, possibly replacing the windows down there. So it's a much needed grant that we can utilize.
Agree?
Any questions?
Questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Chief, could you bring me? Mr. Mason.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I need an introduction, but Chris. But originally I was going to come here and yell at your town manager for hanging up the phone on me, but since you sent me all the information in a timely manner, I think we'll call it a truce on that one. But I would like to address one thing. Just as a feeler, I put out an ordinance that you guys have, 13.4, on Facebook, just try to get a feeler. It's kind of stupid. You can't plant flowers between the sidewalk and the curb. I think our town looks like crap since you got to keep it G-rated in here. So I'd like to dig that up, put some flocks in there that come back every year. I'm the homeowner. I'll maintain it. If you want to do a trial and error, if you want to do a variance for me, I'll do that. So whatever you guys decide or think on that. So that's about it.
So, Mr. Mason, I seem to recall that the reason for that originally when the sidewalk was put in was because back then the town wanted to maintain that piece of grass. But now the property owner maintains it. Am I not correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I don't see why we would have an issue with planting flowers.
Well, it's just it'd have to be changed. Otherwise, you give a variance to people that want to maintain it. Because right now, it looks like absolute crap, and it's just weeds. You know, dirt's built up. People can't plant anything around mailboxes, whatever. I just think aesthetically, if the homeowner wants to do it, it's pretty to me, it's a no-brainer thing. It should just be changed.
Well, we can certainly take a look at that.
There's other ones, obviously. I mean, you can go down the whole list of the ordinances, which you guys, I'm sure, are doing, but that'd be a good start, just so Amy can make her season. That's
All right,
it.
Thank you.
He was the only one was on. He was the only one on there. There was another lady, but she said no, correct, Debbie?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Been on a mission. Old business, discussion of the Go system, Go system. You want to take that?
Yes, yes. So I reached out to Civic Plus, is who we used last year, and then we canceled that contract. We were paying about, I think it was $1,819 a year for that service. I reached out to them to see what it would cost to renew that contract. I went back and forth on the phone and email, and they never sent me a proposal, never sent me a quote, so I never got one from them. I did get a quote from GoGov, and this is for the town notification system for emergencies or any kind of alerts that the town needs to put out to the residents. I did get a quote back from them, and it's $3,900 a year. So I know that you all were interested in that. I don't know if you want to just wait until I can get with Civic Plus to get another quote, or if you want me to get another quote from somewhere else, but...
I thought I recalled seeing something about the system that we previously used being $1,800 a year.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh.
And I said that I reached out to them to make sure that quote was still good. And I've been on the phone with them, and I've been emailing them, and they were supposed to send me a quote, and they haven't yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this would be a budgeted request, again, coming budgeted.
Correct.
Definitely.
But we don't have a number, so we really don't have.
The only one I have is the $3,900, which I submitted to you all.
And there was what, 194 people signed up originally or something of that nature, wasn't it? But there's 1,900 and some odd people that live in town, residents.
Well, I think part of the problem is we need to step up the technology. Asking people to print out forms and drop them off or mail them back is a little outdated practice. We need to work on like maybe a fillable Google form that'll go directly to an email address,
Yeah.
and maybe people will be more likely to fill it out.
We do plan on getting down that road, I will tell you that. We just hooked up with Google. I've been setting up Drive. Not everybody here is fluent with that, so it's a matter of just getting everybody trained to get that done. We had talked about that last night with the comp plan and putting the information out there so people could pull it up. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be looking at, is putting it on a Google Drive, putting it on our website, and then all they have to do is go to that link, fill it out, and then it should automatically come into our general mailbox to get that done. So the other side of this too is MCSJ, which is our utility billing system, just notified me today and stated that they are upgrading the notification system in it, and that because we've had it for so long, we're grandfathered in, so we don't have to pay for it. My only concern there is that it goes to the homeowner, or actually goes to the owner, not to any of the tenants. So they wouldn't be getting any of the messages if we utilize that.
I think we need a system where the individual can provide their cell phone number or something, we can push out the text or whatever type of message to the individual and not necessarily the public.
Well, I think if you all agree that this is something that you want to do, then, you know, if I get the price from Civic Plus and it's within reason, then I can just pick whichever one we want and just move forward with it if everybody agrees that we need it.
I think we definitely need it.
Are there any types of restrictions of notifications or alerts that we could put on this system? I mean, you know.
On the MS.
So currently, you know, we've been working on the website. There is a link on the website that says sign up for alerts at the very top of our page. When you click on that, it takes you into Civic Plus. So I put my information in just to see, and they said that there would be no setup, no nothing, because we've already linked it to their website. It's just a matter of getting a subscription back, but I just can't seem to get somebody to give me a quote to get it done.
I guess what I'm asking is, for my own education, is, so I know an emergency type thing we use it, but say when it's time that your water bill is due or something like that, where we're trying to get the word out, is that something that's acceptable to the system?
Yes.
Are they looking for emergency?
No, it's an alert system.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound.
Sound events or-
It's an alert system, so you could be utilizing it for
Problem notification.
yeah. The only problem is you're at the mercy of the people signing up for it. So
And they can select what they want to get notifications for exactly as well?
you can, absolutely, because I did look in that when I did mine, and it tells you what you want to get notified for.
Well, it sounds like the council is interested, so we
Okay.
get the information from somebody, we'll take a look at it.
So do you just want me to go ahead and move forward with it, and I put it in the budget?
No, I think we need to get the information
Okay.
before putting in the upcoming budget.
Okay.
That'd be cheaper than the.
My daughter's been out of school for years, and I still get the notification every day. It's flow for their alert.
All right, any other questions about the good bill system? All right, then we'll move on to new business, and we had the MDIA rental contract rescinded.
Okay. I may have Brandon jump in on this. So this contract, we requested, and of course, this has been brought up many times to the council, and this is for the inspections of the rental properties. So we changed that from every other year to every year now. Currently, Jamie and Brandon go out. It's usually 6 months out of the year to do all of the rental inspections. They have to go together. It's usually 3 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a day. So we looked in and asked if we could get MDIA to give us a quote on what they would charge. They would take over the responsibility of this. They would be covered under their own insurance as well. And they would charge $100 a house to go in and do. Currently, the fee for the renters is $125. We would have to up our cost for the rentals. We did look in other towns, and it runs about $200 when you have MDIA doing the inspections. But it would save time that we wouldn't have 2 people out doing these inspections, plus the additional cost of the insurance to cover them to go into these rental properties.
Well, if we're not paying for it either, basically, the
Correct.
landlord's paying for that, so.
Correct.
It's paying for the administrative fee of anything, so.
Correct.
$200, it's going to the landlord, he's going to make them pay the rent. So I don't have a problem with it, as long as the rental inspections get done on a timely fashion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I
Access to those properties that need to be accessed.
So I talked to Hal today, he stopped in and we reviewed the contract. He stated that if we could kind of switch ours up, so maybe do a prorate it this year and maybe start in the fall to do the, to go through for him to come in and do the inspections, his time slows down at that point, so he would be able to get quite a few done more in the fall than in the summer.
And he's a building inspector, so.
Correct.
It would make it much better.
I don't know, I mean, new budget starts July 1, so it says annual, so whatever the guy does it, all he does it good a year. I don't
Correct.
see what the issue is.
Right.
I agree, I'll with that.
I mean, it'll free up our employees and let somebody else
Well,
take
this is
the
somebody
problem.
that if we need to go to court, they have the credentials.
Correct.
Correct.
Because they're a code enforcement officer, technically.
Correct. Well, Jamie has been certified in a lot of this area,
Right.
but that means she has to go out. They take the risk of animals and other things that they have run into. That's why hence Brandon has to go with her. The other side of this is, Jamie would still do the paperwork side of that, but it keeps her in the office working instead of out doing these inspections in the same way with Brandon. It keeps him more in tune with the public works and wastewater treatment plant than it would be for him to go out with the inspections as well.
All right, so if I understand you correctly, then you're looking for the council to vote on this to approve the DIA doing the inspection?
Correct.
All right. So I'll look for a motion then to sign an agreement to allow MDIA to do our inspections for us for our rental property.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So if you'll prepare the contract, I'll sign it in the morning. Give me some.
It's quick on the draw.
It is. All right, thank you. That's it. All right, thank you. All right, next on the list is Resolution 2026 R-1. A resolution the town agrees for adopting town council rules and orders of business. We have been through this multiple times, and this is a finalized report that pretty much it says the same thing, but just in a different format. Am I not correct, Jen? This looks to me like a different format, but essentially contains the same rules and agenda format.
Yes, it's a different format from what you looked at before, but it mimics the format of a more recent policy that I found in our files after we had our first discussion. Also, this is updated to reflect that all of your meetings are now meetings instead of workshops. If your copy has the two blue highlights, I just wanted to make sure you saw that the agenda, it says the agendas may be accessed from the town's website and town hall streams. So if you want to keep that, just make sure that the agendas do end up on the website. And then the other one is page 4. I think we're doing that again now where each department head gets a report, so that's fine. So I can, the highlight can come out, it's not necessary for the.
I had some notated concerns that I wanted to address on it. Do we want to read each section and then I can address it? Sure. However you want to handle it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're speaking to, so you handle it however you think best.
All right. Under decorum and enforcement, it currently says the mayor and council shall preserve order and decorum among each other and among the public while in session. The mayor and council may exclude or expel all persons from a meeting at which a disturbance has been created that will not allow the meeting to continue unimpeded. The mayor and council may also take action to prohibit disruptive behavior and expel an individual who disrupts the meeting or engages in disorderly conduct. Action to prohibit disruptive behavior must be balanced against the individual's right to petition their government and exercise freedom of speech. However, all speakers shall remain courteous and respectful and refrain from disorderly speech or action, name-calling, or personal attacks, threatening speech, obscene or indecent remarks, and derogatory comments. So the note that I have is that, obviously it's sort of stated here, but cannot restrict speech based on a viewpoint, derogatory and personal attacks are subjective and protected speech, and they run the risk of a rights claim and a lawsuit over removal of speakers. Should be true disruptions.
So the Open Meetings Act, and I'm just looking for the statute that covers it, allows for exactly what the sentence says, where the mayor could take action to expel an individual who disrupts the meeting. So the paragraph is encouraging people to speak respectfully, but you wouldn't be kicked out if you were not speaking respectfully. However, if the council is not able to conduct its business because of the disruptive conduct of a speaker, not because of what they're saying, but because of a disruption that they're creating, the statute allows for the mayor as the presiding officer to have the person removed.
Okay, as long as that's clear. Okay.
No, they're saying it's the mayor.
Okay.
So, question. Or am I allowed to talk or no?
Sure, go ahead.
So you want the Supreme Court's docket cases and stuff? Like Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969, Texas versus Johnson, 1989, Snyder versus Phelps, 2011, U.S. versus Alvarez, 2012. You can't restrict anybody from saying, hey, I can cuss you out in the middle of a meeting, which I've done before. You kicked me out. I did sue you for freedom of speech violation, which I ended up dropping the suit. But I can sue any one of you, including council members and the town, if you restrict my speech in any way, shape, or form. Now, if I'm the speaker and I'm within my 3 minutes, yes, it's Robert's rule, but I'm also entitled to say whatever I want under the Supreme Court's rule. So if you do try to do any of that stuff, I will absolutely file against you, just so you know in the future. Thank you.
It's general provisions, section 3-303, which is the state statute that allows for disruptions to be limited. You can say whatever you want, you're correct. If what you're doing is preventing the council from conducting its business.
That's subject to interpretation.
What's disruptive to them?
Like I said, you can try it. I'm just going to file a Supreme Court case against
Fine
you.
with me, as long as the council is okay with what your statute, what is listed in your policy. The statute is clear. It's been researched. It's up to you.
Okay.
The next area that I was looking at is section C(I), where it says, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but specifically where no items may be added to the agenda fewer than 48 hours prior to the meeting, except as may specifically be authorized by the mayor. This gives the mayor unilateral control. This conflicts with the council's legislative authority and Opening Meeting Act transparency expectations. The Maryland Open Meetings Act favors collective body control, not executive gatekeeping. This is undue restriction on council members and potential suppression of legislative items. Should be majority council or allow any council members to place items with reasonable notice.
Sorry, could you say again what page you're looking at? I didn't follow where you were.
It's section
Should E1.
E1.
Oh, E, okay, I thought you said C.
I did
I'm
say
sorry.
C, I'm
Okay.
sorry. And I think somewhere else it did say, further down in another section, mayor or council, but in this specific paragraph, it should say majority council approval or allow any council member to place items with reasonable notice.
I think that you are able to, like you just did today, to modify the agenda as a council member at every meeting. Are the council members polled every time the agenda is put together? Right. So I think the practice that you've been doing is the mayor and the town manager set the agenda, then you can ask to have items added to the agenda.
It does say somewhere that any council member can ask for something to be added to the agenda. And I think this is only speaking to something that needs to be added to the agenda within 48 hours, which is a last minute type of thing.
It's also, because you also stated earlier in the document that you're going to post it on your website
7 days.
7 days prior, so you have to have notifications so that can be updated so the public is aware of the agenda change. I mean, we still have the right what you did tonight. It's on the agenda to, if you want to change it, correct. Make a motion to change it.
Yeah, we can change this language, and you don't have to vote on the resolution today if there's concerns, or if anyone wants me to go back and continue modifying it. The section 2 says any council member may request that an item be considered on a future agenda, and that's
So
at any time.
I didn't ask for this to be added in here. I mean, this is something I guess.
It may have
we passed
already
along
been
forever,
on
but
here from the last
I think that
policy.
if you word it so like we have been doing, that if a council member wants something added within 48 hours, they would have to do it at the beginning of the meeting when we amend the agenda. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
so I can just add some language to
Yeah,
section
something
I.
to allow that to happen. Because any council
add-
member should be able to play something.
Yeah. I think most of what I have on here was from your 2024 agenda policy that never was formally adopted, which is why we're doing this, so I'll go back and double check, but yeah.
And just so you know, that a previous agenda policy was written by Lindsay. Just saying.
It's however you all want to run your meetings. It's not me versus Lindsay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to
I got
make
you.
sure I understand what you all want to do.
All right, what do you have next, Kim?
The next one is the same EII, where it says specifically, the town manager may add any item of business to a future agenda in his or her sole discretion. And I have a note, an administrative official, non-elected, does not have more agenda power than elected council members. This violates basic governance hierarchy, and it should be changed to the direction of mayor and council on that specific portion.
I don't disagree with you. I do think that the town manager should have the ability to add an emergency thing to the agenda if there is some town operation issue that's come up that they need your review and emergency approval. So it may be that
Just reach out and get the approval of mayor and council when we're doing something?
well, you'd have to convene or hold a Zoom meeting. I can see if there's a way to reword this. It doesn't mean that that nobody can ask to put an item. It just says the town manager can add items to future agendas. I think it would also slow you down if the town manager had to get agendas approved for future meetings. But if the council wants me to, I can review this
Well,
language just to...
Isn't that what this says in here, where she's talking about, unless I'm reading it wrong, and I could be, under 2, placing items on the council agenda, she's talking about during the public comment portion of the meeting.
No, I'm talking about the last sentence in that section. The town manager may add any item of business to a future agenda in his or her sole discretion.
Yeah, the first sentence just relates to ways that the public can ask
That's
to
what I was
have things on
talking
the
about.
agenda. The other sentences are specific to the subjects of those sentences.
So I take this as if the public makes a comment during that portion. The town manager, if it's a subject that needs to be discussed or addressed by us at a later date, the town manager can add it to the agenda. That's the way I perceive it.
I don't see
Unless
what-
I'm misreading it.
Yeah, the language about the town manager doesn't mean that nobody but the town manager can add things to the agenda. It's just specifically saying, in addition to a council member asking and a member of the public asking, the town manager has the ability to add an item.
So, I think that the town manager should, and I heard somebody else say, the town manager should be allowed to add items to the agenda, because a lot of times she knows information that we don't know until it's put on the agenda. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
For the town council to act on, she doesn't have the authority to act on it. She's trying to get it on the agenda for the council to act, you know.
Right, that's
And you're going to approve the agenda at the meeting, and she sends it out to you ahead of time, so you have time enough to object to it or question Yeah, I mean, if you, I would just strike the word her sole discretion, that makes it sound ominous.
Yeah.
But the town manager may add item town business to future agenda, period.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. Because I think it should be, if it doesn't do anything but put it on the agenda, they don't vote.
Right.
Right. And that sentence doesn't restrict the other means of
Correct.
getting things onto agendas.
Okay. And then number 3, request to give a presentation. We've already set time limits for everything, for public comment and for people that get on the agenda. I don't like the part where it says the presiding officer may shorten the portion. I feel like leaving it to extend it is fine, but to shorten it and cut people off when they have an expectation to be able to speak, I don't agree with that. 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I can strike that sentence less. I think there was a concern the last time we discussed this that if there were 20 10-minute presentations, but that might just be a scheduling challenge versus cutting time.
So we're going to leave, the presiding officer may lengthen the allowable
Yes.
presentation time as needed?
Yes, sure. All right. G, duty of council
I'm
members.
sorry, what did you say?
G,
G.
duty of council members to vote. I just feel like we should add in there that a council member may abstain from voting where the member determines that sufficient information has not been provided to allow for an informed and responsible decision. In such cases, the member is encouraged to state the reason for the abstention on the record.
I have to look that up. I'm not sure if that qualifies as a reason for an abstention. There are some rules about it, I think, in statute, so I can come back to you all, or at least email Cindy with an update to that paragraph. There's specific reasons for abstaining, and I just need to make sure that what you're asking for is in that list.
Okay. And public comment number 3, letter C. Individuals must sign in on the sign-in sheet. Actually, I don't really have an issue with that. I just know that it can't be required for identification, but I'll let that one go. F, the public comment period will not be conducted as a question-answer session. Public comment should not be first limited to residents and taxpayers of the town. The opportunity for anyone wishing to attend or make a comment should be for anyone in attendance. Right now, as it's stated, it says residents and taxpayers, and I feel like anybody that attends a public meeting should.
Residents and taxpayers who we work for.
But we could take the advice of outside of the town, or what they have to say under consideration.
But if they're not a taxpayer in town, I don't agree with that. They don't have a vested interest, so why would you take theirs? I mean,
Kevin Parks.
I can go back and look at the statute. It may be that all members of the public, regardless of their tax status, have the right to speak in any public meeting. It may be that public comment can be restricted to residents and taxpayers. I can go back and look.
Okay.
So that's more, well, I guess section F, yes, so section F and also the first paragraph of that public comment also says residents and taxpayers.
Yes.
So I'll look at that.
Okay, and then stating that the public comment is not a Q&A gives the perception of avoidance, lack of transparency, and fuels public distrust. Should allow clarification responses or the council to engage at their discretion.
Where are you reading from? I'm sorry.
It's the same section.
My personal opinion on that is I like to talk
Yeah.
when public comment comes. Either take up for the council or take up for myself.
You have a choice. to
Or
comment
answer
at the end
a
of the
question
meeting.
if we're able to.
So you limit their comment to 3 minutes. If you start a Q&A, they're not going to be able to eliminate their comment. So it's a 3-minute comment, and at the end of the meeting, the council has a right to comment. So if there's something you want to address with an individual, you have the opportunity to step in.
I think you all discussed this in the past as well, and the additional concern was, and we can change this however you all like, the driver for this was avoiding a back and forth or a shouting match or a long conversation, and instead getting the information from the public, figuring out the best ways to respond, and the mayor could say, well, at my discretion, your question is what time is the meeting? We're not going to wait and send you an email later. We're going to tell you right now the meeting will be at 7 o'clock, rather than slowing down the process or withholding information just because of a rigid policy.
Yeah, I think I remember a conversation about if we're able to answer
Yeah.
something, answering it, but the way this is worded, it almost doesn't permit that.
Yeah. I can add what I just said in here, if that's helpful.
Well, there are times where in doing public comment, like Joe, I wanted to respond because it was easy to answer the question. I mean, I knew the answer, so it
Right, like I
kind of
just
made
said.
me feel silly. You know, that I just sit there and stare at them and say, well, I can't answer you. But in the same token, you know, we don't want to get into a contest where we argue about it, because that's not productive for us.
Right. I'll add in a sentence about you have the discretion to respond if there's easily answerable questions that would otherwise frustrate a process if you couldn't just give the answer at 7 o'clock.
That would be good.
And then section J, it addresses again the public not having the right to make critical and harsh remarks. Again, it's subjective and it's protected. The government can't restrict speech based on a viewpoint. So it's kind of readdressing that same issue, but it's a whole paragraph about being disorderly and threatening speech and so on and so forth. I don't know how you make that non-subjective.
I think I could, in the last sentence, I can take out, so where it says speakers who engage in said speech, I can take out in said speech and so it just says speakers, took out engage, speakers who disrupt or disturb the meeting, because that's more about the manner versus what the words are. And this is a policy that is encouraging the civil discourse. It's not, I can go back and look and just make sure, but I don't think any of the other.
I think that definition is trying to talk about what constitutes disrupting. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but if I'm going to ask somebody to leave a meeting for being disruptive, you know, they're going to want to say, well, what does disruptive mean? What does that mean? And I think that if somebody is I know that cursing is protected speech, and I think that they can speak to the person's job that they're doing, that they don't think they're doing a good job, they need to do better, whatever. But I don't think attacking them personally about their character, that their integrity, and those, I don't think that's protected speech. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I would yield to you. But the only thing this is trying to do, and I'm the one in this hot seat, is that if somebody out there is really being disruptive and rude and disrespectful to everybody in the meeting, do we just sit here and let them go on and on and on forever? Or there has to be some ability for whoever's sitting here to ask that person to consistently.
And there is, by statute, you're allowed. What I can do is, in order to avoid inadvertently trampling First Amendment rights, I can take out some of the language that talks about the kind of language and just stick with what the statute says, which is that if you're unable to conduct your business because of such a disruptive presentation,
well,
if they're disruptive,
Supreme Court cases, we feel like they look at them as well. So.
Okay, thank you. If the disruption is Mr. Mason calling everyone in the room a bad name, that's not necessarily a reason, that's not necessarily a disruption that's preventing you. That's his choice of words, it's his speech.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the distinction, and we can keep this broad. In the end, it is you as the presiding officer who makes that call that says, actually what's happening here, not what you're saying, but what's happening is not allowing us to conduct our business, and so.
The meeting just can't erupt into chaos.
Well, I think it's all, we're all adults, I mean, why is
Yes,
there?
and there's language that,
Correct, I mean, you're not on a playground with kids cussing each other out, I mean, we're all adults, so it should be nice conversations without a bunch of, you know.
I think-
And I get people get heated, I get that, you know?
I can take another look at this section and just make sure that we're complying with First Amendment rights
Right.
and we're not inadvertently squashing anyone's speech.
Okay.
Okay, and then the last concern was section L. If more than 5 speakers wish to speak on the same topic and hold the same position, pick 1 or 2 spokespersons and have all that agree to raise their hands. Government cannot force viewpoint consolidation or limit the number of speakers based on shared opinion. This is a direct constitutional violation, and I would remove that section.
What constitutional amendment are you referring to?
I would guess it's freedom of speech again, because somebody should be able to spend their time, if they want to say the same thing as the person before them, that should be their right to do that.
I don't think that it is restricting them to having to do that. I think it's a suggestion to do that in order to expedite and move the process along. If 5 people are going to get up and say the exact same thing, then if you say, all 5 of us raise our hands, we're going to say the viewpoint, but I want you, Kim, to talk for us. You're talking for the 5 of us. That's just to move the meeting along. When I've been to some meetings where you have 50, 60, 70, 100 people that want to have a say, so it's just an ability to expedite the meeting. Doesn't say they are restricted to doing it. It's just suggesting that they do so you can get out of it.
Okay.
That's the way I think
And
it's wrong.
I can add a sentence that
Suggested.
says, or just says,
Recommended.
it's recommended that you pick 1 or 2.
Other government meetings have been on that, so that's.
Yeah.
And the way I was thinking about it is, if somebody gets up and they all have a thought on the same subject, but a slightly different perspective, then you don't want to limit.
Yeah, well then
Well, then you don't agree to have that person speak.
Yeah, then they would self-select, not raise their hand and get up and, but yeah, we can add that it is recommended so that people don't feel like they aren't allowed to talk. And this, again, is policy, so it can be implemented sensibly.
That was all I had.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, so we will table this until our next meeting when Jen has the chance to send us her thoughts. All right, thank you. All right, so now, we are back to ordinance 2026-06. It's introduced by Commissioner Noon, an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend chapter 19, section 19 of the Greensboro Town Code to clarify the conditions under which the sewer portion of the utility bill may be abated due to a water leak. We had a public hearing prior to this tonight. Nobody spoke for or against this, so I will look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
And a second? All right, would you poll the council, please?
Councilman Ernest?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes.
Noon?
Yes.
Guys didn't even give me a chance to say your names. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dave. And then next on the agenda is ordinance 2026-0-7, introduced by Commissioner Harrison, an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend chapter 4, section 2 of the Greensboro Town Code to extend the number of days over which continued violation of any element of chapter 4 titled property maintenance constitutes a separate offense from 1 day to 5 days. Again, we had a public hearing tonight prior to this. No comment was either received for or against the ordinance, so I will look for a motion to approve this ordinance.
Make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Well, get you the poll, Council.
Mr. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Noon?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Thank you.
All right, we are down to council remarks. Pete, I'll start with you tonight.
Well, with the weather changing, I encourage everybody to spend as much time as you can outside. while you're outside, make sure you stay hydrated and use soap on it. And enjoy this beautiful weather. It's only going to get hotter.
It'll get colder first, and then it's gonna get hot again. I don't have anything.
Jeff?
I've had the pleasure to go out to the elementary school several weeks now to visit the kids playing basketball. The program is really great. The kids are happy. I am going out there on maybe
Fifth and sixth.
5th and 6th to play against them. I probably won't be able to walk the next day, but I am going. I think Bobby's coming out there, hopefully he's excited. Mayor's going to be there. I encourage all the council people to be there, even if you don't play, just to watch us out there. Let the kids see that you care about the program. It's a good program. I mean,
That's not a violation for us all to be there, is it?
We went to the Christmas party.
No.
Don't
You,
get talk shop.
you can have social gatherings, you just have to not talk shop when you're
Okay,
there.
I
Yep.
just want to make sure.
well, I'm
You
buying
can't just-
oxygen tanks.
Yeah, don't talk to Joe, he'll be recovering, but you can all attend social events, you just can't do it as a means of getting around the Open Meeting Act and like, okay, now we're all here, let's discuss business.
Kim?
Just thank you everyone for coming out, participation, feedback. It's always welcome, it's always desired, and hope everyone has a good start to it officially being spring and soon to be summer.
And I thank everybody for coming. I don't have any comments. Appreciate everybody coming. And thank you for your suggestion, Mr. Mason. I like flowers, so I like that idea.
Oh, I do have one other thing there. I'm sorry. In reference to the code enforcement, list we have here, I do see some properties on here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, like 4 different weeks. What happens to those properties?
We just continue to get their violations. We can't do anything with them until, the end of the year. If they reach $750, then we can take them to tax sale. Otherwise, we can take them to court. That is something that we are reviewing this week, and we'll be meeting with the mayor next week. I do have that on the schedule.
Thank you.
Did somebody here, or did the homeowner clean up the yard on Mill Street where there was debris everywhere?
I think it was not the homeowner, I guess the bank, because now it's got lockbox on the front, and the police were up there the other day.
Okay.
Just worry about that firewood.
All right, so I will look for a motion to move into personnel.
I'll make
To close session to discuss personnel issues and have legal advice.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.